Hello again, my friends. Let's look at the next set of boards from the beginner's hands, practice hands in BBO's Bridge Master. Let's look at board number 4. We're about to play in 6 hearts, meaning we can only lose one trick, right? We have to make 12 tricks. And this hand will have a shortcut for evaluating our forces, the forces at hand, by counting losers rather than counting winners, because usually they should both be equally useful, but sometimes you get more clarity by counting one rather than the other. In general, you should try to count both, but if this is not so easy for you as a beginner, you can follow the rule of thumb that in no trump contracts you should count winners, and in trump contracts you should count losers. But you should strive to get into the habit of looking at both tallies at the same time. And so in this hand we have one clear spade loser, the ace, which is about to be cashed probably because West very likely did not underlead his hypothetical ace of spades. And by the way, if you are curious to know about what will happen in the spade trick, don't be. It's important for you to make your plan before you play to the first trick. Sometimes, not in this case because the king and queen are equivalent, but sometimes you are curious and then you play a card and then you later realize that you should have played another. So one loser in spades, no losers in diamonds or clubs, and one possible loser in hearts. So, and since the loser in spades is about to be cashed, the whole theme of this hand is avoiding a loser in hearts. And as a beginner, you probably, if you're an absolute beginner, if you're learning bridge right now, you probably never heard some very simple rules of thumb or mottos that are repeated by bridge players everywhere. One of them is 8 ever, 9 never. And the translation of that into beginner speak is, if you have 8 cards in a suit, which is the case in hearts, you should finesse for the queen. This dictum is about finessing for the queen. So if you have 8 cards, you should finesse for the queen. If you have 9 cards, you should not. And if I recall correctly, the next board number 5, will show a case with 5 cards. So we'll look at both, one right after the other. Let's focus on the case at hand here. You have 8 hearts, meaning there are 5 with the opponents. And so, if you try to cash ace and king and capture the queen, I'm just giving you a very general explanation as to why finessing with 8 is usually correct and certainly a habit that you should get into. If you try to capture the queen by cashing the ace and the king, you are hoping that the queen is in the shorthand. Meaning, if hearts are 5 and 0, you will cash the ace and you'll see someone has 5 and then you are doomed. In this hand, you cannot avoid someone from making that 5th heart, even if the queen 5th is on side. But if they are 4-1 or 3-2, meaning one of them has 4 and the other, one of the East has 4 and West has 1, or West has 4 and East has 1, or 3-2, same reasoning. If you try to capture the queen by playing the ace and king, you are hoping for the queen to be in the shorthand. And I hope it is fairly clear, once I spell out this reasoning for you, that this is less likely than that it should be in the long hand. Imagine you have 5. Imagine you play a game. I get 5 hearts, 5 missing hearts, and I shuffle them, and I give 4 of them to one player and 1 to another. And I ask you to bet, where's the queen? You'll probably bet that it is with a player that has 4, right? You don't have to get into the mathematics of it. it is exactly 1 in 5 that the queen will be singleton. It will be on the pile with one heart, and 4 out of 5 cases in which it will be on on the side that has 4 hearts. If the hearts are 3 and 2, the disadvantage is not as stark, but it's still 2 out of 5 for the queen to be in the short hand, and 3 out of 5 for the queen to be in the long hand. And so you are, in both cases, picking the line that has less than 50%, because that the queen will be on the other side, on the long side, is more likely. Therefore, it's more than 50%, since you have only 2 choices. It is either on the long hand or in the short hand. And if it is in the long hand, if that is more likely, then it's more than 50%. So we are ready to play a few cards. As expected, the Ace of Spades has won by East. And there's only one further caveat in this suit, not in general for 8-card suits missing the queen. But in this suit, you have the opportunity of cashing one high honor before finessing. Bridge Master always punishes us. So if you try to finesse immediately, you lose to the singleton queen. You see what happened? And then he will even rub it in your face. You lost to the singleton queen. So let's start again and play it correctly now. Because you add, what you're doing is, your plan is to finesse. But you add the very small but not negligible chance of a singleton queen. You see that when you cash the ace, the queen is not singleton. And you go to dummy, and it's safer to go to dummy in clubs. It's more likely that they will ruff. If they will ruff something, it's more likely that they will ruff diamonds, because you have 8 of them, than that they will ruff clubs, because you have 6 of them. And now you finesse. And there you go. East has 4 of them, but no worries, you can capture his queen. And all is yours. We can play all of that, but let's save some time and look at the next deal that, as I recalled correctly, it's a similar hand, but now you have 9 hearts rather than 8. You have 4 and 5, that's 9. And so that changes the odds. So you can either choose to memorize the motto 8 ever, 9 never. That's a mnemonic, something to help your memory. The first letters, right? 8 ever, 9 never. When that's supposed to be the answer to should you make the finesse. And in more advanced lessons, not in the beginner class, you'll see that both of these cases are not as clear as they appear. But we are dealing with very simple situations here, and in which other things are very much equal. You have no information, nothing from the bidding, and you should deal with the hearts as you cannot cash side suits to try to get more information. You have to draw trumps as quickly as possible. And so when you have 9, it is more likely that cashing the ace of king, the ace and the king will deal with the suit. And the math of this is not as easy to explain as in the case of 8, but I'll try anyway. Let's get to the relevant position so that you understand. So you see that everybody followed suit, nobody had a void. Now you can go to dummy, and when you play the 10 and this guy plays the second heart, perhaps the best way to understand why it's more likely to play the king in this hand is the following. You have exhausted let's imagine that there are 2 heart suits, not only one. You have one heart suit that is composed of the 3 small cards, and another heart suit that is composed of the queen alone. We can deal with that as if it were a separate suit, because nobody will play the queen if he still has a heart, right? Nobody will play the queen from queen second or queen third. And so, people will only play the Queen of Hearts if they have no further small hearts. And this pseudo suit, this artificial suit of small hearts, you have already seen all of them. They were 2 in East and 1 in West, right? East had 2 of them, and West had 1 of them. So you can already rule out, for instance, that East had a singleton Queen of Hearts. It's not the case. That East had a doubleton Queen of Hearts. Not the case either. That East had a small singleton. Not the case either. And so, focusing on the main thing, when you know the distribution of an entire suit, such as the pseudo suit of small hearts, 2 in East and 1 in West, the odds of any other card, including the Queen of Hearts, can be adjusted. So if East, from his original 13 cards, has 2 hearts, he has 11 vacant spaces in which we can fit the Queen of Hearts. And West has 12, because he has only 1 heart. So it's 11 spaces for East and 12 for West. So West has a slightly bigger chance of having the Queen, and so it proves here. And now the hand is over. So this is a subject that is not so easy to introduce to beginners, and Bridge Master has probably I think the lesson that it intended to convey was simply presenting the lemma 8 ever, 9 never. But I wanted to delve a little more deeply into it. Hope it wasn't way over your heads. But bridge is like that. You have many layers. And so hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.